There we go. Welcome back to the Vault Podcast. Today we have a lot to talk about. First off, housekeeping. We had our first positive comment this week. Cooper Jones won. If you're watching this, you've made my week and will forever be immortalized in this video. Additionally, Cooper is also our first subscriber. So once again, thank you, Cooper. On the flip side of that, we have our first hater, everybody. Coming in on our Cat Williams short, actually a day or so before Cooper made his positive comment, we had Joshua Meza, 7544, and I quote, saying, "You are nobody. Be quiet." Well, Joshua, we hope to see your support on many more videos. In other news, we've made very slow progress this week. We have about 4 subscribers on YouTube, no followers on TikTok, and about 2.5 thousand views on all of our videos combined. So, although slow progress, at least it's in the right direction. On to other news. Joe Rogan had Riley Gaines on the podcast this week. She mostly talked about her usual subjects. I've seen her on some podcasts in the past. Nothing new. Talked about her life, talked about her journey, talked about her swimming career. I don't have much things to say about Riley Gaines, but I do have to say, Riley, keep on fighting the good fight. Next, I wanted to talk about these new TikTok trends. A lot of girlfriends on TikTok are doing agreeableness tests on their boyfriends. And although the tests are stupid and dumb, like, will he peel an orange for me? Or what does he do when I call him my husband? And it has ended some relationships, but it's also made others. All I have to say really about that is, ladies, you don't really want an agreeable husband. An agreeable husband is somebody who's not really going to have a backbone. They're probably not going to get that promotion at work, and they're definitely not going to take protecting you seriously, let alone protecting themselves. Now, that being said, no one wants to hang out with an asshole. Assholes are assholes. If you're rude and you're a jerk, probably shouldn't be somebody's boyfriend in the first place. But at the same time, you don't want overly agreeable men. Overly agreeable men are never going to take care of you. Today, I wanted to play a little game to end off the podcast. With the help of my assistant off screen over here, I'm going to rank various different sports that we have at least some amount of experience in. So, how I kind of want to start this off is, for me and for my assistant, it's going to be a 1 through 5 value, and then at the end, we'll total up all of the values and rank them accordingly. So, first on the list, we have football. Football is one of the most popular sports in America. One of the highest grossing sports in America, along with having one of the highest athletic thresholds out of all sports now. Not every single sport. I would say basketball and sometimes even soccer have higher athletic thresholds. But nonetheless, football ranks very, very high in most all categories. Complexity, engagement, entertainment, popularity, money, athletic achievement, strength, speed. Football kind of has it all. So for me, I'm going to rank football a 4.5 out of 10. What about you?
So when you say that we're ranking them 1 to 5,
Yeah.
you mean that we're ranking them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
You're going to give each sport a point value from 1 to 5. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Oh, you just said out of 10, though.
We're going to add. No, I didn't. I said 1 out of 5. Doesn't matter. And then we'll add our 2 points together, and then we'll rank them accordingly based on our 2-point statistics.
Football?
So football. What are your thoughts on football?
Solid 3.
Solid 3?
Yeah, it's down the middle.
Why?
It's like, yeah, I understand it's like America's sport and all of that, but I feel like it's a little too much. Like, it's fun to get together and it's fun to do whatever, but honestly, who's actually paying attention to the football except the dads? Like, let's be real. Like
20 million Americans.
No, like only the dads. Like, some people talk about it, but most of the time it's just kind of random nonsense. Like, oh, did you hear this guy got drafted? And you just make up some random name, and they're like, oh yeah, 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 and they always say yeah.
Have you done
They
that? Have you
always
made
agree.
up a random name?
Yes, I've done that in conversation just because people were talking about it. I'm like, well, I want to be part of that conversation, and so I'll just
Well,
go
what
ahead.
about college football? I mean, you come from a pretty big school with a pretty big football population. It's the biggest thing on campus every season, every game.
Yeah, because of the parties. It's not because of football.
Fair. But the environment around football has to be at least safe for something.
Yeah,
it's not even just the sport.
It's the environment created by football. Football itself, a 3. The environment created by football, 5.
So like a 4? Can
No.
you even out to a 4?
No.
What?
No. The amount of injuries that you get in football is not even worth a 5. So I'm going to say a 3 because they make a lot of dumb people. Some people are probably really good at football, but they're probably
so you're
super dumb.
Talking about CTE?
Yeah, CTE, but
CTE
also like everything
until you're
else.
like 50.
Yeah, but also no, 3. I'm sticking with 3.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll throw a +3 on here. Okay. Now on to basketball. Basketball is my personal favorite sport. I've always loved basketball. Extremely entertaining, extremely fun to play. The injury threshold, as I had brought up, is a lot lower. You know, it's mostly just shoulders and ankles, and sometimes a hamstring or two. Athletic achievement, extremely high. Money, it doesn't produce as much money, but it also hasn't been around nearly as long as football has. It's not quite as big as football and slightly less popular. So for those reasons, I'm probably going to have to put basketball around a 4 for me. What do you think about basketball?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because the idea of playing basketball is fun. It's super fast paced.
Anybody can do it, kind of.
Well, yeah, and there's so many leagues for basketball, and like everyone enjoys basketball.
Well, everyone's played basketball to an extent.
Yeah, like
not
even
everyone's throwing football.
Yeah, like paper baskets, like with the paper you crumple it up, throw it in a basket, that counts. I guess. So I mean,
well, and I guess one thing that basketball has going for it that football just doesn't even compete. Basketball has both gender leagues.
Yeah.
Football doesn't even come close. There's no women's league at all. And the only women's leagues that's ever existed was a bunch of girls in bikinis.
Really?
Yeah, and it was pretty small. I don't remember what it was called, but it was pretty much like arena football, except the bottoms were like underwear and then the tops were like crop tops, only like right here.
Yeah.
Right, they only extended to the pads.
Yeah, of course they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so what point value would you put? Sorry about that. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but let's get back to basketball. Assistant, you had rated basketball a 4.4 out of 5. Do you want to back that up at all?
Yeah, I mean, plus 0.1 point to that. I rated 4.5 out of 5. But
4.5 out of 5. All right. 4.5.
Yeah, it deserves that extra point. You know, I grew up with basketball, so I might be a little biased.
Keep the mic far. Yeah, just a little farther. There you go.
Yeah. I grew up with basketball, so I might be a little biased. My dad played, my mom played, my aunt played like professionally, and so it's like
your aunt played professionally?
Yeah, nice. She was super cool. Is super cool. She's not dead. But all
right, fair enough.
But yeah, that's probably why I would rate it 4.5.
Alrighty, on to the foot fairies. Soccer. We hate soccer. Soccer is a communist sport. It gets a 0 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
I'm just playing. Soccer is one of the most popular sports in the whole entire world. So sadly, America's opinion of the sport gets a little superseded by literally everybody else. But what does their opinion matter, anyways, right? Go America! No, I'm just kidding. Um, Soccer requires a ton of technical skill. Take all of the training and time and skill you would need to manipulate a basketball on a basketball court and translate that right to a field. The amount of dexterity you have to have in your feet, the ability to run constantly, be agile, be nimble, be fast on a field is incredibly high for soccer. The threshold to be a professional soccer player is extremely high, possibly higher than both football and basketball, if not right there with it at any given time. To be a world class soccer player, you have to beat out so many other world class level athletes to get to the top. And just from the sheer scale of that difficulty in comparison to football and basketball makes an elite level soccer player exponentially more difficult. Um, yes, they're not quite as tough as maybe even the average basketball player would be. And yes, the game might not be as complicated as basketball or football, or it might not be as physically demanding, and you might have a little bit longer athletic lifespan than maybe a football or basketball player would be. But you also have the added difficulty of you have to compete against different countries that have different languages and different histories and more than one biases. Sometimes some of those countries are even at war. When you're competing on the world stage. You're not just competing for the people you know and love. Um, any given world class soccer player can go up against any given you name another sport player in social media, branding, marketing, money, net worth. Um, Soccer definitely deserves its spot at the top. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.8. Can't give it as high as like a basketball rating for my personal bias, but damn, is it close. I have a lot of respect for soccer and soccer players. What's your thoughts on soccer?
So I'm gonna give that one.
Pull your mic. Just yeah, there you go.
So I'm gonna give soccer a 4.4.
Really?
Because of all the reasons you listed, with it being a very difficult sport. It is so difficult with all of the advanced moves and everything that they have to do. They have to spend, I would argue, probably more hours practicing than a basketball player or a football player.
No,
because of how like technical, I guess you can say it is.
Yeah.
And I also have a cousin who plays professionally for soccer. She's so cool. Also cool, like my aunt. But
man, you just come from a line of super athletes. What's wrong with you?
So. You know what? Wonder the same thing because I suck at soccer. But anyways, 4.4. Jeez. Because of
you rated that higher than football by a point and by 1.4 points.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about the players specifically because yeah, they're probably babies, but honestly, the sport itself, rating the sport itself.
Well, and it's an ancient sport. I mean, soccer is like the oldest sport, so it has history. Yeah.
Oh.
Like different versions of soccer. For instance, like the Mayans were playing a version of soccer, but I mean, it's history in Spain and in Europe, hundreds of years, and any given American sport is only maybe 100 years old. I mean, minus like track and field and stuff. Obviously, those are the oldest sports. Track and field, Roman times. Right. So it dates back quite a bit a ways. Additionally, I wanted to add on to one of your points about soccer being so difficult to succeed in. Soccer is so difficult to succeed in that with America having the highest, I guess you could say, super athlete per capita in the world, we don't even come close to competing on a national scale for soccer. America's soccer teams absolutely are dog shit. So, I mean, that's something all on its own right then and there.
Yeah, are you gonna have to bleep out all of the?
No. You just you got to be careful on YouTube and then the TikToks. You can
Change
bleep it
subtitles.
out or just cut it out or just don't put it in. So you have a 4.4. I have a 3.8. That is insanely high for soccer. Are you a soccer sympathizer? Are you a communist? All right. Now, total flip side to communist, all American baseball. America's favorite sport, America's pastime, the richest sport when it comes to history in this country, the most leagues other than basketball, the highest grossing American sport when it comes to player compensation, the most amount of professional stadiums and semi-professional stadiums, and God only knows how many rec leagues happen every year, especially if you count softball in the mix. Both slow pitch softball and baseball are played every single summer all around the country, all the time. Baseball is completely rooted in American history, both in our blood and in our country. It is an undeniable sport, just from a historical standpoint. From an athletic standpoint, I did come from a baseball background. I played baseball for 8 years, but I also played football and basketball. And from an athletic standpoint, I don't think baseball is that athletic of a sport. There are some athletic portions of the sport, but altogether, the athletic rating is far down on the list. Hitting a baseball, I can agree, probably one of the hardest achievements in all of sports. It is so incredibly hard to hit a baseball. And when you're talking about professional baseball, you're not even swinging at the ball. You're anticipating where the ball is going to be based on how the pitcher is pitching, because the threshold from when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand to when it crosses the plate is faster than a human's ability to react to that ball. So hitting a baseball, extremely hard. I'll never take that away from the sport of baseball. Of course, that ups the rating a little bit. The relative 40-yard dash, from home base to first base, very important, very crucial part of the sport that requires some athletic achievement. That being said, you get some leeway if you're a really good hitter. Baseball has probably one of the highest percentages of professional sports of obese or even just straight up non-athletic people playing it. They're good at one portion of the sport and they get away with everything else physically. Baseball still has super athletes, just like any other sport. They have all kinds of outliers. I can't take away that there are extremely athletic people who do play baseball, but baseball as a whole, it's just not cutting it for me. It is very popular. It's not very popular overseas. But I do have to say, when it comes to every single league of baseball, I mean, professional baseball, semi-professional baseball, college baseball, even kids baseball is televised at certain levels of the game. So exposure and viewership and its ability to generate money, very high. For all of those reasons, I'm going to give baseball a 3.5 out of 5. What are your thoughts, assistant?
What's your other ratings on the other sports? If you gave that one a 3.5.
So I gave baseball 3.5, I gave soccer a 3.8, I gave basketball 4, and I gave football a 4.5.
Dang, you gave baseball 3.5 and soccer 3.8?
I forgot to say one very crucial thing about baseball. It is so fucking boring. Not only to play, but to watch. I think that's an important distinction. I can watch a soccer game. Yeah, it does end 0-0 sometimes, and that sucks. But to suffer through a freaking baseball game, kill me now. And so that adds to my hatred of the sport. Mind you, I played it for 8 years.
Hatred? You were just going off about how cool it is, and
Eh,
now all of a sudden you.
It's not that cool. But I have to respect it for what it is good at.
Okay.
I played it for 8 years, and I was so bored.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on baseball?
I would give baseball a 5 out of 5 only for the movie Sandlot. But if we're like,
What
but
about
if
all
we're
the football
talking,
movies? What about all the
no,
basketball
those ones are
movies?
so lame.
What about Coach
I think.
Carter?
No.
What about
Hey,
what?
I say 5 out of 5 only for Sandlot, but in realisticness,
Mm-hmm.
I would give
In
it
all reality,
a 4 points.
this is very suspenseful, everyone. This is a 4.3.
3.
4.3. Okay, that's lower than soccer and basketball. Higher than football. You really just don't like football, do you? We're going to have a segment if people want to change their mind. 4.3. All right, on to tennis. Tennis is gay. Tennis is for Europeans and people who aren't really good at other sports but still want a scholarship. Tennis has high cardio and a lower than the other sports, but still a pretty high technical and athletic threshold. Now, there are some pretty cool and athletic moves for tennis. I've played some tennis. It is pretty hard, but it's nothing I couldn't learn quickly, or even probably be good at some point. I don't think the barriers to entry when it comes to skills in tennis are very high. Learn how to manipulate a racket, learn how to run left and right. You kind of got it down. Tennis is not very fun to watch. The only people who watch tennis are millionaires and people who play tennis.
And me's.
And me's, whatever that is.
On Wii.
Yeah, Wii tennis. Chef kiss. Everything else, no. For that, I'm just not impressed by tennis. I'm gonna have to give tennis like a 2. Tennis is lame. If you play tennis, you're pretty much a theater kid, dude. You're just no one. You're just somebody in the hall.
Dang, you're starting to sound like you're a hater.
No, I mean I love playing tennis, but as a sport, I also did theater too, so that's a diss on myself as well. Assistant, what are your thoughts on tennis?
So depends on what area we're talking about. If we're talking about professional,
Arizona?
If we're talking about like professional level tennis, I would give it like a 3.
Okay.
But if it's like high school,
football,
but
you're gonna rate tennis and football on the same scale.
Actually, tennis gets a 3.1.
I hate you.
And yeah, tennis gets a 3.1, but for professional. So I'll give tennis a 3.1.
Why?
For my
sure. Professional tennis, yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean,
shit trickles downhill, so rate professional tennis and everything else can be secondary or tertiary points. But what's your justification for rating tennis a 3? I mean, 3 solid, but it's also the same on par with football. And I take personal offense to that. So you're going to have to justify yourself.
Well, yes, you kind of need more skill to be actually played in football instead of just sit on the bench, because those teams are huge.
True. You've got a lot more people to compete against. Yeah.
And no one really plays except the main players on football.
Right. Yeah, you'll get more playing time with tennis.
You know, I just feel like tennis isn't as heard of as football or any other sport. And so I feel like it deserves that extra point more than football, because football is honestly too much. I feel like it just breeds aggressiveness, and yeah, it's a good way for guys to get their hormones out, I guess. But honestly, some guys aren't even angry people, and they have to make themselves angry to play football, and I think that's kind of counterintuitive in a little bit way.
I was I was definitely on both sides of that. There were times where I had to amp myself up, and there was other times where, man, was it a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Um, so you think that tennis could be more popular than football given the media exposure?
No, because it's
No,
boring.
it is
But
boring. So you
but
can't even cheer in tennis. If you're a sport that you can't cheer in, two thumbs down for tennis. Okay, what we 3?
yeah,
All right, fair enough. I mean, it's solid. I don't like that it's on the same par as football, but
it's
whatever.
better.
Oh, you're right. A 3.1 because you're a petty douche. For everyone who obviously can't see, she flipped me off. Pickleball!
What?
You didn't flip me off?
No.
Oh, I thought you flipped me off. Pickleball. Pickleball is everything that tennis wishes it could be. Fun. And for old people. Um, I think pickleball is a lot of fun. It surprisingly is more interesting than tennis. Um, threshold for playing, lot lower. The threshold for having skill, a lot lower. Um, but because anybody can play and everyone loves it, it's honestly a little bit higher than tennis in my book. I'm gonna give it a 3.2. There's not a lot to say about pickleball. It's a new sport, but there's also not a lot of things to say bad about pickleball. What's your thoughts on pickleball?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a reason why they use pickleball as a thing in middle school and high school and elementary for part of PE because it's
Yeah,
so
anybody can play. It's
so easy
fun.
and it's
Yeah.
yeah and it's fun and like anyone can play. So I would give that sport, since anyone can play, a 3.9.
That's 0.9 higher than football.
What are you gonna do about it? Miscalculate?
Yeah, I'm gonna shave some points. One thing I do have to say about pickleball, I don't remember what store I was in. I think it was Target. I was in Target. They had a whole aisle just dedicated to pickleball. Yeah, it was the whole shelf was just paddles, all different colors. So Target loves pickleball, and we love Target. All right, on to the most flamboyant sport of them all, swimming. Swimming's fun. Anyone can do it. Most people don't know how to do it. It is an extremely technical sport on top of an endurance sport, and all endurance sports are just an absolute drag on life. Not super engaging to watch unless you're into it. You know, the average person might watch swimming in the background if it's on the Olympics. Other than that, you're not going to catch them. Chlorine sucks. It dyes your hair, kills your hair, smells bad, doesn't taste good, hurts your eyeballs. Um, it's a very useful skill. It's a very human and natural skill for survival and recreation and having fun and all things water. Swimming is awesome. It's a basic necessity of life. I personally think everyone should learn how to swim. As it being a sport, not super entertaining, not a lot of outreach. People don't make a lot of money on it. Old people can do it, and that's fun. I think I'll probably give swimming a 3.2. It has a rich history, but the downsides about swimming really bring it down in comparison to something like pickleball. There's just nothing bad to say about pickleball. So I'm going to give it a 3.2.
All right, starting off 4.8 for swimming
Oh my.
because of
That's
how hard it is.
1.8 points higher than football.
Yeah, so swimming, extremely hard sport. Extremely. Imagine playing basketball but not breathing the whole time.
That's true.
It is so hard, I think. And yes, it's so technical and you can feel like you're swimming fast, but someone can walk faster than you. So
True.
it's like I would give her 4.8 because of the athletic ability of those athletes, those swimmers. They are top-notch athletes. They may not be coordinated on anything else,
Can't throw a ball, but they'll swim their ass
but
off.
they could probably run circles around track athletes if they have the right
Like endurance
endurance.
wise.
Yeah.
I mean, the swimming feats, like on an endurance scale, are huge. I mean, there was a dude who like pulled like 15 boats miles, and there was the people who like swam from Antarctica to Southern America. Like the swimming feats are insane. There's people who swam around like continents. Michael Phelps is one of the greatest. Well, I should say one of the most awarded Olympians of all time. He's a swimmer. Um, so yeah, definitely the swimming feats are second to none if you're just thinking about like the farthest reaches of swimming. But swimming as a general sport, I just can't put it that high. That being said, this is coming from a lifeguard of 5 years. I taught swimming lessons to a lot of people, but my assistant here she has a bias. She was a swimmer. Everyone
Okay.
thinks their sport's the best sport.
Okay. So there's a story to that we don't need to go on for this podcast.
Yeah, but
I do not put myself as a swimmer.
I feel like your ranking for swimming is because of the appreciation of how difficult it was for you.
I guess so. I guess so.
So I feel like there's a little bit of a bias in there. Your hell is not everybody else's hell, but I'll still respect your
Good.
opinion. On to volleyball. I love volleyball. I love playing volleyball. My sister played it. She taught me how to play. I didn't get to play it as a sport, which really sucks. And the fact that we don't have more men's leagues, especially in the high school level, that's a for volleyball. Volleyball is awesome. I think it is technically very hard. It has a team dynamic, but also a really good individual dynamic. It hurts like a motherfucker getting spiked on when you have to hit the balls on your forearms. Forearm is a really sensitive area. When you got to take digs on the court, that sucks. Skill threshold. I mean, the skills of volleyball, although relatively high, aren't nearly as difficult as most sports. I wouldn't even say it's as difficult as scoring a goal in hockey. Not only that, but in volleyball, you get a lot of touches with the ball. You have a lot of opportunities to make points, make plays, and do what you need. So, something like golf or hockey or possibly even basketball, you're just not going to see opportunity to score and to make moves and to be athletic in those other sports like you would in volleyball. So high opportunity and high chances to make a play and do a good job in volleyball. So kind of makes volleyball a little easier. I love playing it. Beach volleyball is awesome. They need more men's leagues. I'll go 3.6 out of 5. Volleyball's awesome, but it's not that awesome. What are you going to rate volleyball?
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5?
Yeah, that's 2 more than football. I already know.
Volleyball is a perfect sport in your eyes?
Yes.
They don't even have a professional league.
But they have, like, what? Is it?
No, they only have the Olympics. And
okay, well, that kind of counts.
Kind of counts. But it's not, you don't get paid. A volleyball athlete comes straight from college to the Olympics. They don't get paid. They get paid for their, like, weird tournaments, like cornhole.
That doesn't have to do anything with my rating. We're rating the sport itself.
True, we are rating the sport. Okay.
Volleyball
5 out of 5
is so fun. It can be played indoors. It can be played outdoors. It can be played in your kitchen as long as you don't have glass out or anything. Yeah.
It's kind of like volleyball.
Yeah. No, it is so fun, I think.
But perfect sport?
Yes, a perfect.
You couldn't get any better.
No. Volleyball, by far my favorite.
I'll put it down, but I'm very reluctant. Wrestling! Everyone's favorite sport to forget. Wrestling is extremely difficult. Probably one of the most difficult sports to learn, both technically and physically. Wrestlers are some of the toughest on the planet. Everything they do is difficult. everything they do, from the moves to the conditioning to the dieting to the tournaments to the psychological aspect of it
To the balls in the face.
to the balls in the face. It's tough. It's the humiliation, the fact that nobody appreciates the sport whatsoever. Wrestling is difficult. You don't sign up for wrestling if you want to have an easy time. Other sports, you can kind of get away with being a slacker. Wrestling, it shows. It's an individual sport, and it is one of the hardest things you can do, both for children and for adults. That being said, wrestling doesn't have the exposure. It doesn't generate very much money. It does have Olympic potential, which is a nice benefit. Like football would not. You never get an Olympic medal from football, but you can from wrestling. So it doesn't generate money, isn't very popular, doesn't get a lot of appreciation. Tournaments are harder to do, especially as an adult. College programs are small and underfunded. Not exactly very exciting. The only people who like to watch wrestling are wrestlers.
Or their parents.
Wrestlers tend to be kind of dickheads, especially when you insult their sport. They don't have a lot of resilience when it comes to getting made fun of. But the difficulty rating is throughout the roof. Oh, and the injury rating. I mean, they're not even just contending with all of these other things, but they're also getting injured constantly. For that, I think I'm going to have to give wrestling a 4 out of 5. I have extreme respect for it. I've only done it a little bit, but it's not a perfect sport. It really isn't. For every downside that wrestling has, it has 4 upsides. But externally, it sucks. Internally, it also sucks, but in totally different ways. So for me, I'm going to go 4 out of 5. What do you think?
3.5.
3.5? I mean, that's solid.
I feel like I don't really have to explain myself on that one.
Yeah, it's not popular. Not a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, similar to swimming, wrestling is a vital thing that some people should learn at least some aspects of it. It's great for self-defense and confidence and understanding human body and human potential. So I just have to say that because wrestling is pretty cool. 3.5 out of 5. All right, on to very similar but much cooler jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is super fun, super engaging, chess match with dire consequences, as Joe Rogan would say. It's not my quote. All the hardest things about wrestling also come into jiu-jitsu, minus probably the weight cutting is not as severe. Also, jiu-jitsu gets way better exposure and is way more popular. For that, I'm going to give it a 4.2. Allie?
I was going to say 4.2 too.
4.2. I mean, it's solid. It's a great sport.
It's really
fun
cool.
to do.
It looks really cool.
Super cool. You can manipulate people on a level that you just don't see in almost anything else. 4.2. Jiu-jitsu is somehow going to be our highest rated sport. Boxing. Boxing has a rich history. Boxing is extremely engaging. Everyone loves it. It's worldwide. It makes so much money. Everyone watches it. Boxing is awesome. Boxing is the antithesis of wrestling. But for some reason, everybody likes it so much more. For that, I'm going to give boxing a 4.4 out of 5. What do you think about boxing?
3.6 because I feel like it's really similar to wrestling. Wrestling's kind of more dramatic effect and show. Unless you're talking about like the actual sport, not like WWE.
No.
Boxing is honestly pretty kick-ass. I might actually move my score to 3.8.
3.8? That's solid. I mean, that's good. I maybe have a little bit of a personal bias against boxing. I love it. It's super fun. I love jiu-jitsu and I love boxing, and you take those two, you got one of the coolest dudes in the whole planet. All right, on to everybody's favorite, not a sport, cheer. I did cheer. Cheer was fun. Cheer was scary. Cheer was weird. It's not fun to practice. It is fun to do stunts, though. Stunts is super fun. Nobody really appreciates cheer. Nobody really watches cheer. They have every once in a while you find a couple cool YouTube videos. But more than not, you got a lot more memes out of cheer. There's been more people who've shit themselves in a pyramid than they have actually done something cool in front of everyone else. Everybody loves to make fun of cheerleaders. Everybody likes to date the cheerleader. Cheerleader is probably a 2.8 out of 5 for me. It's difficult, but that's about it.
3.1.
3.1, yeah, it's just not interesting. 3.1. All right, nobody likes cheer. And right next to cheer, we have dance. Dance is only cool because there are some movies about it. Step Up movies, cool. Other dance related movies, super cool, super fun. Everyone likes hip hop. Everybody likes the backup dancers at concerts. We don't always appreciate them. The athletic potential of dancing is varied, but also pretty difficult at the highest ends. Dancers are in incredible shape. Dancers have really good style. Dancers make a lot of money. And dancing is a universal language, probably older than actual written or spoken language. Dancing just has so many good things about it. Dancing doesn't have a lot of bad things about it. Dancing is something that anyone can do, even if some people aren't that good at it, me included. I like dance. I appreciate dance. I like watching the dance reality TV shows. And I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. What do you like about dance?
I like how versatile it is.
Very versatile.
And it's super, I don't know, it's just super fun to watch, super fun to do.
Super fun to do.
I mean, you make money. I think it's like all around good.
It's a great sport.
So I would give it a 4.6.
4.6, that is understandable. All right. Everyone's second favorite, not a sport, chess. Chess is one of the oldest sports of all time. It's also a board game, something that anybody can learn. We teach at a young age most of the time. The barriers to entry, very low, but the barriers to expertise, very, very high. Chess is everyone's favorite problem-solving game. You can do it anytime, anywhere, with anybody. Chess is awesome. Chess isn't very popular, but it kind of is popular, especially with this Magnus Carlsen guy. People like to talk about chess, but I'd still say it's kind of an underrated sport. It's not super engaging, but it is really interesting. Chess is one of the most complicated sports of all time, right behind Go. And it's fun. It's fun to play. Play when you're camping, play with your bros. Sometimes makes you feel good. Throw in some Andrew Tate music and be the top G for a minute. I'm going to give chess a 3.8 out of 5. Chess is fun. What are your thoughts on chess?
You said 3.5?
3.8 out of 5.
3.8. I'd give it a 3.1.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, like,
yeah. And you're not super into chess either, but that's still, I mean, that's a good rating.
Yeah.
It's higher than football.
Yeah. No, I know people who, I can't go below 3. I know people who play chess and they're just wicked smart, and so I have to give props to that.
Fair enough. 3.1, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the having time constraints, we're gonna kind of speed through these. But up next, and I do want to give golf its due. We have golf. Golf is extremely hard, extremely technical, extremely psychologically tough. Some of the greatest golfers of all time are amazing people with extremely high technical skill that a lot of golfing feats are underappreciated. Golfing is a huge money generator. It's less entertaining, more interesting, but golf also has a lot of diversity in it that other sports kind of just don't. There's women's leagues, there's alternate leagues, you know. The PGA Tour is insanely popular. The live golf tournaments are becoming really, really popular. I'm going to give golf a 4, 4 out of 5. Golf is solid. Golf is fun. I don't do golf. I appreciate golf.
3.1.
I mean, all right. Fair enough. Anything to say about it?
I mean,
we're speed rounding here, so.
Yeah.
Keep it
No,
quick.
golf, I mean, I got nothing to say about golf. Nothing comes to mind when I think of golf except I'm trash. I'm so bad at it. So
Me too.
I give props to people who are good at it.
Yeah, fair enough. There's an appreciation. Frisbee golf. Frisbee golf is fun. Frisbee golf, almost anybody can do. Frisbee golf can be very difficult, but it doesn't have to be. Family friendly. Get out in the sun. It is more or less seasonal. Um, all of the great things about golf, all of the worst things about golf. It's an alternative to golf. Frisbee golf. I'm gonna give it a 2.8.
3.2.
3 point. You're gonna give frisbee golf a higher rating than golf?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because it's more fun.
Fair enough. This is my personal favorite entry. LARPing. LARPing is fast-paced, engaging, tough. You get bruised like a motherfucker. Underappreciated. The festivals are super fun. The people who go there are really, really nerdy, but really, really exciting. Everyone has a story. I think LARPing is underappreciated. I feel like we should have a LARPing confederation. I feel like swordsmanship is awesome. I love watching movies where there's fights with swords. LARPing is the real life version of that because fencing is gay and we don't talk about fencing. LARPing is awesome and it's creative and it's nerdy and it's everything you want LARPing to be, and it is. I'm going to give LARPing a 3.5 out of 5.
Whoa, you're going to give it 3.5 after all of that?
Yeah, solid sport, but it's not, there's not much to it. I mean, it's not very popular, super nerdy, super niche. I love it, but I understand where it sits, and it sits at a 3.5. What do you rate it? You don't know much about LARPing, but you know that I'm a nerd and we've whacked each other with swords quite a bit.
4.1.
Wow. Why?
Because it's fun to hit people.
It is fun to it is so fun to hit people. It's all of the fun with hitting people without the consequences.
You know, I feel like this commercial or meme or whatever, this little GIF or clip, whatever you can call it.
The one where they
with the
found a dead
minions?
body?
No.
Oh. What? Anyways.
What?
The one where they found the dead body at the LARPing convention and he's like, well, my friend was a sorcerer and we thought he was going to raise it from the dead and then he didn't get up.
And then the glitter thing and they got glitter everywhere. No. I'm talking about the Minions, like the new Minions movie.
Uh-huh.
The little clips of it where the one Minion's hitting him and he's like, stop. And then he goes off on the other guy, like hitting him super hard.
LARPing is an adult version of a pool fight with noodles. Everyone loves to do it. They're just too scared to be a nerd. We love LARPing. Okay, track and field. It's the oldest sport. It's one of the hardest sports. It's the basis of Olympics. It's not that fun. It is really popular. Track meets, very social places to be. If you love people, you're probably going to love track. Go try out for the track team, kids. I'm going to give track a 3.8 out of 5.
4.9.
Jesus, it's not even close to a perfect sport.
4.9 because of how many events there are.
It is very diverse. It's
super boring to run, but when you are running around from this event to that event to this event to that event, it's so fun.
That's a good point. And the memes from people like doing pole vault or like jumping the gun, hilarious. It's a very memeable sport.
Memeable.
It is.
All right.
That's important.
4.9.
Jesus Christ. And last but not least, archery. Not fun to watch. Fun to shoot. Hard. Hunting, also. If you consider that a sport, it is a little subset of archery. Hunting is also hard. Hunting is also fun. Hunting is engaging. Hunting is very entertaining. Olympic archery, not as fun. Not as entertaining. Is really hard. Mentally very taxing. An individual sport. I'm going to give archery a 3.6 out of 5.
3.
Have you even shot a bow before?
What? That's insulting.
And that's why it's a 3.6 out of 5.
First you're saying that I flipped you off. Now you're saying I haven't shot a bow before.
I really thought you flipped me off. I really did.
I feel like people would agree with my ratings more than they would yours.
Track and field a 4.9.
All right.
Volleyball, a 5 out of 5?
Anyways, if you're not a man, you probably agree with me.
Well, it's a good thing my audience is 89% male. Poop on you.
And are you stealing my catchphrases too? What is this?
This is the Vault Podcast.
Oh my god.
What's your rating for archery, woman?
All right. Woman, I'm assistant.
Assistant, woman. Woman assistant. Female philanthropist. What's your rating for archery?
I think we got some input from outside.
Yes.
Anyways, 3.7
Okay.
because it's hard, yeah, but
Oh.
it's really fun though. Like it's
I like it, yeah.
yeah, I mean not fun for a long time, but fun for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Once your back gets tired, it's not so fun anymore.
Push your back. Yeah.
Well, and the trick shots for archery are fun to watch too.
Yeah,
It's pretty
those
engaging.
are cool.
Yeah. Money wise, it's low middle tier. There are some people who make a couple millions, but most people don't, and most people have to spend a lot of money to be in archery. Okay, give me 15 seconds, people. We're gonna add these up real quick.
Our pizza's done in 8 minutes.
Oh, that's what you're trying to tell me. Okay. 3.8. Get a calculator real fast. 3.8 plus 4.4.
4.4?
Yeah, 3.8 through 4.4.
8.2?
Okay, 3.5 plus 4.3.
7.8?
Okay, and 2. Oh, that's 5.1. 3.2 plus 3.9.
3.2 plus 3.9.
Was that 7.3?
7.1.
7.1. Oops. I'm retarded. 3.2 plus 4.8.
3.2
Was that
plus
9?
3.8?
3.2 plus 4.8.
8.
8?
Yeah.
All right, never mind. 3.6 plus 5. So stupid. 8.6. 4. So that's gonna be 7.5. We have 8.4. And 3.8 plus 4.4.
3.8 plus 4.4.
Yep.
8.2.
8.2. Okay. And we have 2.8 plus 3.1.
5.9.
Oof. That's a low score. 3.5 plus 4.6.
8.1.
0.1. And 3.8 plus 3.1.
6.9.
6.9. Nice. It's gonna be 7.1. I can do the easy math ones. 2.8 plus 3.2.
6.
6. Alrighty. 3.5 plus 4.1.
4.1.
3.5 plus 4.1.
7.6.
7.6.